What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about why I am getting Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. This is a video preview series I do where I take a look at upcoming game and talk about whether I'm getting it, not getting it, or I'm somewhere in between. And look, this is a divisive game. This is a game that God really knows what's going to happen, when this thing comes out and just all of the talk that's going to be going around on it. But I got to say, it was really always a purchase or a get for me, right? Look, I'm coming at this from a couple different angles. One of the angles, and I would say the strongest of the angles, is I want to see the story. And now you could say, well, Alex, you could just, watch it online. Fair point, but I want to be able to experience the entire thing, and that's really kind of part two, right? I want to see what they can do. As we've talked about many, many times through all these Suicide Squad videos, I've kept myself pretty safe. Not looking at notifications on Twitter and stuff really does help from time to time, but I really haven't seen. I saw a little bit of those original leaks that came out, and then I saw that Miller Ross had done an article, right, debunking a lot of it, and I believe in his article he spoiled a lot of stuff on purpose, right? That was like the plan. I did not read that article, so I have stayed really clean from this. I haven't really been checking comments. I've just stayed away. So from my perspective, I want to see what they're going to do. I have confidence, or at least I have a little hope. Hope is probably the better word, right? A lot of this is on hope. I hope they can tell a really good story. I hope they can do right by Kevin Conroy, right, with his last performance. Not getting too deep into that controversy because there's a lot of people kind of throwing Kevin's name out there, right? Not really getting into that. Just, hey, can you tell a good story that involves Batman from that one angle? Can you also just tell a good story in general? Can I really actually like these Suicide Squad members? I mean, I like this version of Harley, right, the Arkham Harley. She's a really cool character. Can you do it? I think, honestly, the answer is yes, they can do it. Will they do it? That's the bigger thing. But that's why I'm getting the game, primarily for the story, the characters, and what they're going to do with this Arkhamverse. Oh, I mean, the ending, you can get a little bit more deep, right? Like, where does this go? Does this go into another Rocksteady game? Is this Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman from Monolith's game? I think no, but, will we get an answer? Do we get a Justice League game from here with these Justice League members, right? Like, those questions are easily the thing I want to know the most. And, okay, you could say, well, Alex, you don't have to, we already said this, right? You don't have to actually play it. You can watch it. I said it, I think I said it in when I talked about the previews, right? When the influencers and the content creators and the journalists got to play this game. I'm going down with the ship if this goes the wrong direction, which it very well could. Look, I think I've been pretty fair to this game. I don't think this game is going to be outrageously good. That's a prediction of mine. I don't think this game is going to be all that great of a game. But I also don't think it's going to be absolute garbage. Now, will the live service stuff speak to me? Will the gameplay speak to me? Honestly, I'm not so certain. I've never really been certain, and I feel like, where we're at now, about a month, or actually less than a month out, I don't really have a ton of confidence it's going to speak to me. What I hope, and I think I've said this before, but here's kind of my game plan. I want the gameplay to hook me enough to get through the game. Now, you could say, well, that's an obvious thing, right? Of course, you'd want to, A, get through the game, and B, not, despise it as you're going through. That's true, but this is a different kind of game, right? This is a game that they want you not just to play it to see the end of the story, and considering the game starts out, online only, and then eventually they're going to add that offline mode, right? So while I'm going in it with, okay, well, let me just get through this game, let me see everything there is to see. If there's side things to do, if there's main things to do, let me do it all. Let me see what this game has. But after that, I've been pretty open with this. If the gameplay doesn't get me, I'm out. I mean, this is not a game that I intend to spend 4, 5, 6, 7 months in. Now, I will come back. My plan is to come back when big things happen. If you add a new character, if you add a new part of the map, there's been some interesting rumors / leaks of where this game is going, right? Even different locations where it's going. If you do that, I'm in, right? I will come back, I will experience it, and then I will probably leave again. I mean, look, and I've been open with this. That's just the kind of person I am. I'm not really into live service. I don't know, some of the longest games, I have played the Rocket Leagues of the world and Dead by Daylights. Yeah, I've put some hours into those, but I don't know. I don't see myself sinking 2, 3, 400 hours into this game. Now you could say, well, Alex, what about like everybody else? Well, this video specifically is more about me, right? My plans with it, how I feel. That stuff is separate, but to throw it in, just so you guys know, like, I hear people, right? Like, I know that this game is also for people, not just, you could say, well, Alex, this kind of game isn't for me. Well, it is for some people, and I have seen many people talk about that the game is for them, right? Some people want to play this type of game and want to play it for a very, very long time. So again, just to throw that out there, it doesn't, I'm selfish in this video, so it doesn't really apply here, but just so you guys, understand, like, I respect all the sides here, and I get that while maybe I don't like a certain thing, it's very possible somebody else does. Different kinds of people that play games, right? Everybody's going to have kind of their own different taste. But that's my hope. I mean, I just want to see what they got. I'm willing to give the gameplay a try, right? And by the way, this is all with the fact that I did play the closed tech test, but you can't talk about it. So I will be honest, I have things to say about the gameplay. I have things to say about how the game literally feels and if it will be repetitive based off of and I can't say any of it, right? So it is tough. I have to kind of like talk around things, but those are my fears, right? My fear is that the game is just not going to hold me all that well with the actual gameplay mechanics and what you're actually doing. But again, like I feel like I'm coming at it from a pretty fair angle where the game doesn't have to get me for 200 hours. The game has to get me for however long the base game is. If this game is a 15, 20, 25-hour thing, when I'm recording this, we don't know. I'm just kind of throwing out numbers, right? And then, maybe it does. Like, maybe I will want to play pretty deep as these other characters. Maybe I will be playing this game come March, April, May. And I gotta be real. From a, not necessarily like content creator, although I guess that's part of it, right? I want to see, not just do I want to see with my own two eyes when it's playing on my TV, right? Like what happens. I want to see what happens, like in the grand scheme of things. Could be like the Joker wanting to watch the world burn, but like this game has been so divisive. And if they royally screw this up in terms of, and I would say specifically with this, story and characters, right? If you ruin the Arkhamverse, if you just tell a poor story with the Justice League, or literally whatever happens, right? If it's terrible, well, that goes to the part where I said, hey, I'm going down with the ship. But also, like, I like chaos to some degree, right? Like, I want to see what happens. I want to see what people are going to say. I want to see the difference of opinions. And I kind of want to see this thing play out, right? Like, if this is and I will throw this in too. If this is a really poorly executed live service game, right? This kind of, you're going with the times, right? You see the era that we were just in. Honestly, I think the popularity of what Suicide Squad is doing, that was a few years ago. So, and there is like the narrative that they jumped on this popular bandwagon and they jumped on it too late, right? Because now it's got a lot more red flags and people kind of see through it more now than they did. And honestly, a lot of that stuff I agree with. Like, I never disagreed with that. Well, if this happens, like, there is a lesson to be learned here, right? So, and that's from content creation, that's from social media. Like, I'd like to see what people say there. It's also just like in general, if they royally mess this up, I gotta see it through physically. Like, I gotta play it. And then I'm sure people are gonna call them out, right? And I would say rightfully so. You don't have to do anything. If you don't want to call people out, if you want to call people out, literally don't be pressured into doing anything. But I want to see what happens where, again, was this a mistake going down this path? And you could say yes, right? And people have said yes or have said no already. We haven't played it yet. We haven't played it fully yet. So once we all do, or at least some of us do, and you can watch and, listen to people's, opinions on it, then I think we can get a better grasp at this game. So honestly, it's like almost a social experiment. Like, that's an interesting term, right? Like, that's what this game is to me, guys. Seriously, you're never really gonna get, I don't know, like Gotham Knights. You thought that was divisive? You wait until this one, because I think this game is really gonna divide and really just gonna be. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's some people's literal cup of tea. Some people eat this stuff up, not because necessarily. Yes, there are shills out there, and yes, there are people that are gonna like anything for whatever reason. But I think there are gonna be people absolutely genuinely in their hearts that like this game. Like, it's going to happen, and they're not evil for it. They're not messed up in the head. There are people that like these games, and this game is going to satisfy it, right? And then other people aren't. And I don't know, you could say that for any game. Every game probably has that, but this game is so loud, right? It's so big. It comes from a very beloved series with Arkham and a quality developer, at least they were quality, and maybe they still are, maybe they aren't, in Rocksteady, right? So there's a lot of questions that are going to get answered when this game comes out. That's a big part of why I'm getting it, and I do just want to see this thing through. Let's play this game and let's see if I've said this time and time again on this channel. One of the reasons I've stayed away from the leaks, I want to give you guys, I'm not BSing, I'm not lying to you. These are my genuine thoughts. I want to give you my genuine thoughts on the game. It's actually why I get so mad that I can't talk about what I feel about the tech test, because I really want to say it. Just throw a 10-minute video together where I talk about it. I can't. But I can control if I see these leaks or not. So at least when I experience it, I can film it or whatever, make a rant video or a positive video and talk about, hey, they did an excellent job. I want to make that kind of stuff, right? And so we'll see. We'll see what kinds of videos I'm making when this game comes out. Regardless, let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.